What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday Stanley Cup Final edition of Morning Cup of Hockey presented by Bet365. That's Colby Cohen back in his chair. I'm Johnny Lazarus. We got a great show for you today. My good friends, our friends. I don't know if Colby's ever really talked to them face-to-face on a show before. Dan and Chris Powers from the Empty Netters will be joining, and I'm sure the three of them will team up and chirp me the entire show. So I'm looking forward to that. You have something to say?
Can we just let everybody know about this little technical difficulty today with StreamYard, with our platform? In case you guys are getting frustrated with it, we are as well. There's this, we use this cloud-based software for now, and every now and again there's little problems. So we are aware of it. Our cameras are kind of cutting in and out, and there's like a little wheel spin going back. So we apologize for that. We do. And
it's his fault, though.
I will say, I'm really excited to have these guys on. I've been asking you to get these guys on for as long as I can remember. I know they came on.
They did All-Star Weekend, but you weren't there.
Well, that was on Friday. You did an extra show, and I had already left. But I think I kind of get to just sit back today because the only people that I know in the world that give it to you worse than me is these guys.
That's not true, though.
We have a whole group chat dedicated to you, and you're not even in it. And that's the best part. And
I call that rent-free, pal.
And I just get to, you can spin it however you want. But the reality is I probably get more laughs out of the things that are shared in that group chat. And shout out to our friend Mike Grinnell, who's also in that group chat. And then I told you there's other people in there. I don't even know
12 people in it.
There's a lot of people in this Johnny group chat, but I look forward to this. I really do. I might just kind of get to sit back, drink my coffee, and watch these guys just shred you on just about anything and everything that you have to say about hockey.
Well, I think Dan's actually here. Chris is going to be joining, I think, in a second. But if Dan is here, we can bring Dan in to start, and then Chris can come in whenever he's ready. Vic, do we have Dan? I just want to confirm. Oh, it looks like Dan is here. Okay, well, I was going to read him in. Dan, just going to give a quick word from our sponsor, Proraso, the most complete choice for shaving and beard care, made in Italy since 1948. Proraso has been a staple of Italian culture and barbershops globally for 4 generations, so get 15% off at Proraso-USA.com with our promo code Hockey15 in all caps, Hockey15. And you look ready to go. You look like a Floridian. How's it been so far? I know you just were you just in Boston for the Bauer event, though?
Was just in Boston, got back yesterday. Great trip in Boston with Bauer. Love those guys and appreciate everything they do, but very happy to be back in Florida. And Laz, I am going to say, I appreciate the confidence of saying the whole rent-free line, but the fact of the matter is when you found out we had that group chat, you texted me on the side.
Yeah, I was so sad.
You were like, nothing on earth has ever made me more sad than knowing that you guys are in a group chat without me. So just know that everything's.
I love the humor. Even if you're making fun of me, I still want to be involved. I want to see it.
Yeah, but that's our favorite part is that you're not involved, and we know that you're just sad that you're missing out on the jokes. So
that's his default mechanism to when he's taking it on the chin is saying, "Oh, rent free." He does that. he uses that argument quite often, and it always falls a little flat. I mean, it really does fall a little flat. But let me ask you, what were you doing for Bauer in Boston? I'm always curious about these events that you guys do, because I feel like I see little snippets on different social media channels. But what exactly was it that you guys had going on?
It was just an awesome new launch for Bauer. They were launching their new vapor line. So we went up rather. I'm all turned around. We went up to Boston. They had a cool setup we were set up in Quincy, and then we went to Rockland, and we went to the Lovell Arena, which I had never been to, Colby. I don't know if you've been to that.
Great arena.
I mean, it's pretty new, right? It's like 2 years. I think it was built 2 years ago or something like that. But
who plays out of there?
Lovell Academy.
Lovell Academy. I know for sure. But man, bowling alley, golf simulator, full, beautiful 360-degree bar up in this place. So they just had a huge event. A lot of guys, a lot of great prospects were there. Our boy Logan Thompson was there. The Hughes brothers showed up. Patrick Kane was there. And then a ton of the creators, Pete Lennis, Swaggy P, Zach Bell, those guys showed up. And yeah, we just all kind of, put the spotlight on the new Vapor launch and all those new beautiful pieces of equipment like sticks, skates, things. And it's just a classic Bauer, man. They take care of us and showcase their stuff so well. So super fun. And I couldn't believe, honestly, like getting all of those people together in the middle of the final was a tall order, and they did
in Boston too.
Yeah, truly, like it was it was wild for sure.
And Chris is here, Colby too. Just want to let Chris in also. So we'll just bring Chris in, no read, but good to see you, CP. Happy you're here. Didn't get the Florida Bro Tank memo like DP though over there.
Dude, I saw him getting ready. I put on a nice crew. I was like brushing my teeth, and then Dan comes out in a tank, dude. And I was like, I didn't know.
I was going to say, and morning, Chris, good to see you, buddy. And I don't know how much you heard of the early part of the show. I was just asking Dan about the Bauer event. It's so interesting to me to see how Bauer has just like taken over. I mean, even at the younger levels of hockey, like all the junior leagues are now Bauer. Like the team, the junior team that we have here in Jersey, they're all Bauer. I still go out for practice with my Easton stick, and the guys look at me and they pick up the Easton stick and they're like, is there weights taped to the bottom of this thing? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I pick up their stick. I don't feel like I'm even holding on to anything. So it's fascinating how far removed I am from all that stuff. So like when I do go pick up a new Bauer stick or even Bauer skates, I'm like, this is insane how light everything has gotten. Like, I don't even know how these guys can feel the puck with some of these twigs.
The skates are the ones that blow my mind the most. Like it's actually insane. Actually, Laz, I broke. Remember my in a Vail, my toe cap broke on my skate.
Yeah.
So I immediately, went to the good people at Bauer and was like, hey, I need new wheels. And they sent me the new
Hyperlights or whatever they're called.
Well, I got the Supremes, the shadows, and like I got the box, and before I even opened the box, I was like, oh my god, they forgot to put skates in here. That's how light it was. Truly, I was like, Jesus. And then I opened it up, and I was like, wait, these things, like it took me a while to adjust to them. They're so light. It's crazy.
That's wild. Yeah. Now it looked really cool though, and all the videos that came out were awesome. So happy you guys got to do that. Happy you're back in Florida. I have a question to lead things off this morning. As New England folks like yourselves, you guys are from Maine. I don't know if everyone even knows that, but people who do follow you should know you guys are both big Bruins fans, and you don't hide it, which I love about you. And Colby would probably insult you behind your back about it because he hates super fans, but he won't say it to your face because right now he's trying to team up with you guys. So I'll do it for him. How do you feel that there's probably a 10-year-old kid out there right now saying, wow, Brad Marchand might be one of the best Florida Panthers I've ever seen, and they'll probably remember him as a Florida Panther more than a Boston Bruin?
Man, someone in the chat said Dan says he's not, and he's right. I'm actually not. I would not consider myself like a big Bruins fan anymore.
That is bullshit.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I said to someone yesterday, I can't believe how natural Brad looks, not just literally in a Panther sweater, but just as a fit on this team. And you hear about it from the guys, like they all say it, like Marie says it in interviews, Bennett says it in interviews. The way he's just meshed with them wasn't surprising at all. When you look at guys like Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk and how they have similar games, it makes perfect sense that he's fit right in. But I think as someone who grew up a Bruins fan, and when you see the state that the Bruins are in right now, I think there was the dream that was Rome, right? There was the old fallacy of, well, it's a fallacy now, but the old culture of the Boston Bruins that was really born with Patrice Bergeron and Zdeno Chara, that is gone. That does not exist in Boston anymore. But as a Boston fan, and Colby, I'm sure you'll agree with this, if you look at that team of old with Bergeron and Chara, and now look at the Florida Panthers, they have that culture. It's the same culture. So it's like when that trade was happening, and there was the LA trade that almost happened before, and then he ends up in Florida, I was sitting there going, yep, of course he's going to Florida. Of course it's going to work out perfectly. And, we were talking to someone on the team the other day, and he was like, man, how huge he's been for this room is remarkable. And to say that about a room that's already so impressive, it was just like, Jesus. I mean, like you can't think something could get much better, and then it does with a voice like him. I'm not surprised by the fit, but to circle all the way back to your question, Johnny, it is a bit heartbreaking to me that there are like young hockey fans that are like, yeah, Brad Marchand, Florida Panther, like they're
not going to remember the Bruin days.
Like, they straight up won't.
I was on the phone yesterday with Mike Bavis, who, Mike Bavis coached at BU a very long time. He's head coach in the American League. Like, he did the pro thing. A great Boston hockey family. His brother, Mike, very, very tragically, died during 9/11. And a lot of people know that story, obviously. And I'm not kidding you. We're on the phone yesterday talking about some completely random things, and the series comes up. It's exactly what he said to me, CP. He literally said to me, this team and the leadership and sort of the swagger in their locker room, but the ability to like dial it up to be serious reminds me of the years of Bergeron, Chara, Seidenberg, Ferentz. I mean, it's a long list, right? I mean, there was a group of individuals for those years that all were part of it, Marshy being one of them. And it's funny to hear you say that, Dan, because like it's Bavo said that to me yesterday. I mean, I respect anything that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, guys, I'll say this too. I don't know if it was the Tom Brady Bucks years that broke me as a fan officially, but I remember being a kid and hearing people say, I'm like, what's your favorite basketball team? They're like, well, just whoever LeBron plays for, And I was like, how do you not like a team, like your hometown team? And then Brady left, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll just root for the Bucks now. Like, whatever. And I was like, oh, you've spent all this time loving a guy and like watching them give everything they got out there for you. I don't need the laundry as bad as I maybe did when I was 12, So it was shocked how easy it was for me to watch Brad go to Florida and just be like, this would be awesome. I'm so happy for him. Because I have a lot of Boston friends at home who are like, no, Marshy's dead to me. That's our arch rival. How could you ever do that? And I'm like, dude, he's the man. And I'll never forget the Bruins here. Like if you actually liked him and the fans, you're like, yeah, dude, he was an awesome Bruin forever. And he was our captain. And now I hope he wins in Florida. And that's cool.
I don't want to spend too much time talking about just Brad, but like it also is pretty wild to me that, and I'm sure Bruins fans are feeling this, that when he was in the Bruins, everyone hated him. And now it seems like everyone loves him. Like maybe that's just me.
That's
I don't know.
Evolution. What do they say? Like you start a hero, and if you stay a hero long enough, you become a villain, or you start a villain and you stay a villain long enough, you become a hero. It's like the life cycle of so many.
I think it's the opposite of that.
Well, I hear people use it both ways. That's what
I've
saying.
never heard it that way before.
But I like it, dude. It's the reverse Batman. It's the reverse Batman.
How did Marshy start?
Marchand is reverse Batman.
Marshy's he was a villain, right?
Everybody hated him. Take, Colby.
Now everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Think of all the people that started and everybody didn't like. I mean, there's plenty of guys like that. I mean, you could throw Corey Perry in there, depending on which side you're looking at him. He's been hated. He's been loved. Like, there's a number of guys that have run the gauntlet of people's emotions throughout their career. And, I think that we're looking at a number of those guys right now playing in this series.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you add too, he was one of the guys that was showing his emotion or his personality, I should say, early. Like he was even on Twitter and stuff. But this league, as we all know, is these guys are so buttoned up, and the answers are all like the team and blah blah blah. And it's been cool seeing, maybe it's the younger generation getting in, but just the guys getting more on social, getting more in the media, and being themselves. And I think that's helped the arc too, Colby, a lot. Where Brad, like every time Brad's on camera, I just feel like he's making fans laugh, and that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Definitely seems like the happiest version of himself.
Yeah.
One of the few guys in the NHL that has gotten to a point where he's just not afraid to show his blunt personality. Everybody's got to see it in the locker room for years. Now he comes on TV, like he understands it. It's like he has a platform, and he's going to use it, to continue to grow this thing. Let me ask you guys this, because you've been in South Florida. You're chatting with players. Like, when we start looking at tonight's game, after the way that it ended the other night, and we had some big disagreements on the show, as we always do. And I said, look, Edmonton wanted their pound of flesh. Once they knew they were done on the scoreboard, they're like, we're going to get our pound of flesh. And Johnny's like, oh, they embarrassed themselves, this and that. Like, what do you think the reset has been like the last couple of days? Like, I know you guys were away from it for a day in Boston, but you have been very close to this thing. And I'm just wondering what the expectation is when puck drop happens tonight.
I mean, to an extent, I agree with Laz, which I hate to say.
You're not supposed to do that this morning.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I think that they did want their pound of flesh, Colby, but I don't think they got it. To me, it was like, it looked like they went, all right, we're getting whacked here, so let's get some licks in, and they just were on the short end of the licking. And
that's true.
And I was like, it's interesting when a team's getting beat like that on the score sheet, and then you get physical and you try to get a little grimy. I think that does work sometimes. I think it's like you kind of piss off the other team, but the way that those antics went was exactly what Florida wanted. Mm-hmm. So I do think that didn't go the way Edmonton planned, right? Like that was the scene in Hitch when he's like, I saw that going differently in my mind. I think that happened to Edmonton there.
Yeah. That's been most of Johnny's adult life, that situation. But anyway,
I've seen it firsthand. but I do think that this Edmonton team is much different mentally. I think they're more mentally strong than they were last season, and that's not to say that they were mentally weak. It's just even more of an improvement. And I pointed out, Colby, after they won the Western Conference Final, just how chilled out Connor seemed when they were like, what do you going back to the Stanley Cup, and he was on the ice after that game. He was just like, yeah, we're calm, we're cool, we're excited. And it hasn't happened that much, right? Until this series, Edmonton had lost 4 games these playoffs, and 2 of them were the first 2 games of the playoffs. Every time they lose big, game 2 against LA, game 1 against Dallas, they come back and respond very, very well. So I think they are probably in their locker room going, listen, we're fine. We've been here. We're not going to get rattled by this. But the fact of the matter is, I do think it's important to note that whatever edge they were trying to get from trying to stir shit up in that game, I don't think they got at all. And in fact, I think there's a chance that it made Florida more confident, which is not what you want. But, there's nothing funnier to me than a series like this where, and CP, I'll kick it to you because you have said this a bunch of times. It feels like every game, the momentum and the vibes of the fans shifts completely. Like after game 1, people were like, dude, it's over. Edmonton in 5, it's over. Then Florida wins in double OT in game 2, and people were like, oh, look out. Like, here come the Panthers. They just stole home ice. It's Florida in 6. And now people are like, there are people planning the parade, or, it's just, but if Edmonton wins tonight, people are going to be like, we're back. Edmonton in 7. It's mental.
No, totally agree, Dan. It's absolutely insane, the momentum swings. And to touch on your antics topic too, I said this on one of our shows. Here's when I don't like it. If there's an actual reason for the pushing and shoving, like if there's a loose puck in front of your net, your goalie jumps on it, but someone takes a late whack at his glove hand, and then there's like a 1 shove, 2 shove, and now we're going. That's when I'm like, okay, you're being correctly tough. Like you don't want the Panthers to come in and hit your goalie. This is when you should throw hands. But when it's just like, when it seems like out of nowhere, like there's just a casual offside and then you punch someone in the face, I'm always like, all right, dude, everybody calm down. And that was my fear watching that third period, especially, where I was like, you're unraveling, dude. Like you're trying to establish this mentality, but it's completely not needed or warranted right now. And like Dan was saying, Florida was laughing, dude. Like when Jake Wallman was squirting Seth Jones over and over, Seth Jones like looked at the ref at one point, palm up, like, is this guy serious? And I was like, dude, this is a bad look right now.
You know what though? Like my pushback on you guys is, anybody ever break their stick over your arm? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
Not me.
Okay. How did it feel the next day?
Pretty bad. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is undoubtedly true.
That's all I'm saying. Like, listen, you guys have very, well thought out, emotionless, like even keeled takes, which I can appreciate because I work with, a drama queen, but,
Vic?
I and I'm not talking about Vic, for the record, but I truly believe that, you get to this point and there's no such thing as a sore loser in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, you will kill the guy next to you to try to win. Like, you will play with a broken foot. You will play with a broken leg. You'll play with a punctured lung. Like, we can go down the list. It all. And so when you break your stick over a guy's arm, like Trent Frederick did, and the next morning, I forget who he did it to, there's a good chance, like, you're going to feel a lot more sore the next couple of days. And that's where I think, you know what? I get it. I really do. I probably would have done that. Sure, call me a sore loser, but like, I'll try to take all your teeth out if it means trying to win in at that point. So fair points, reasonable points, even keeled points, but I still think it hurts the next day when you have to deal with that all period long. And the only play of that whole ordeal that I didn't like was the trying to pitchfork Verhaeghe in the face while he was down. That was the one I didn't like. I didn't mind anything else. That's where I draw the line. A stick.
Colby, no, dude, you can't. Because you know what?
Have
you ever had someone smash you in the face with their stick from point blank range? That's pretty hard to play the next game too, dude. I think you got to keep going, bro.
I actually drew the line there, guys. So I'm not a total horrible person. I'm just like a partial horrible person in the way that I look at this. So then let me ask you, like, what do you think happens tonight? Because my argument has been, and I've been having this conversation with people, like, if Edmonton comes out and wins today, what are we talking about? We're not talking about the third period antics. If they lose, now we're talking about the third period antics. So what are you guys thinking we're going to see tonight in Sunrise after 60 minutes of hockey?
So I don't want to skip ahead, but I've said a few times, I think Edmonton wins game 5 no matter what. No matter what the result is tonight, I think Edmonton takes game 5. And that sounds like a cheap take because it's like, oh, they're back in Rogers. It's so easy to just say they're going to win at home. But I just see on my board them winning game 5. And I think Florida is smart enough to know how tough it is to win there. They had 2 OT battles there. And I don't think that they want to go into a situation where they're up 2-1 here and all of a sudden they're down 3-2. So I think Florida, while they definitely feel like they have the momentum, that Edmonton's probably feeling more of the pressure right now. I think Florida knows winning tonight is very important for them. I think that they are the better team. I really do. I've said this from the beginning, but Edmonton has just been on this crazy mission, and it feels like they just will not be denied all playoffs long. But, interestingly enough, for me in game 3, I felt like Florida was able to show their strengths in such a significant way. And, say what you will about all the penalties and this and that, but like, to me, for the first time in this series in particular, period 1 of game 2 was a shit show. Like there were so many penalties in that period that some I thought were really soft. I felt like every call for the most part in game 3 was a warranted call. And I think Florida was they tilted the ice. They were making Edmonton make bad decisions and bad plays. So tonight, I think Florida has the advantage. I think that they have an opportunity to really, really take control of this series. I think they're playing a little bit better, but you see those interesting stats. I think it's the last 7 Stanley Cups, the eventual winner of the cup in 4 of the last 7 has lost significantly in game 3 or 4. And, we saw it last year, obviously 8-1, I think it was in game 4 that Florida lost, and they eventually went on to win. So this game for me is like, it feels like Florida just mentally is in the better place, regardless of how well I think Edmonton is going to shake it off. But at the same time, it's like, I've made the mistake of betting against Connor McDavid before, and
Me too,
I haven't.
by the way.
And I haven't bet it. It never works, Colby, and I haven't done it since round one. So I think. Oh God, I don't mean to flip flop here, but like I think we're going to be very impressed with how good Edmonton looks in this game.
Chris, can I say one thing before you go here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like you, Chris and I are always like on the same wavelength with our kind of, I don't even know how to word this other than like stupid thoughts, but it's just how it is.
It's not a good thing, Chris.
Not a good thing.
I heard that and I was like, this sucks.
DP and I think take stupid things and actually make a point of them. And this is one of those things. Okay, ready? So just bear with me. I was talking to Vic before, and I don't know if Colby heard us or was listening to us, but Dan, just saying what you said about game 5, that the Oilers win game 5 no matter what. I actually think there is a world where there's more pressure on Edmonton being tied 2-2 than being down 3-1 going into game 5 on home ice. Being down 3-1, if they win on home ice, it's like all the pressure is on Florida to close it out at home to avoid game 7 in Edmonton. But 2-2, it's like, holy shit, if we blow this game, Florida's going to beat, like they're going to not only beat us on home ice, but then they're going to go take the cup on their home ice after that. Like, that's just where my brain goes. And again, I know it sounds stupid, but I think it kind
does.
of makes
I'm
sense.
here to let you know it sounds stupid. Yeah.
It kind of makes sense.
It sounds dumb because it is dumb, dude. That's the crazy part.
I completely agree, Lass. I completely agree.
I knew it. Like, I'm sitting here watching Chris shake his head, and I'm like, please tell me he's shaking his head in disbelief and not because he agrees with where his brain is going right now.
But think about the 2-2 on home ice. Like, I feel like we've seen
Johnny, let me ask you a really simple question. Okay?
Let Chris go first.
Really simple.
Don't be rude to our guests.
Let me ask you a really simple question. Would you rather be up 3-1 in a series or 2-2?
That's why
How dumb are we? Is this fucking conversation right now in what you're saying?
I get that. But Chris, you go.
Laz, I just want to say though, dude, I have always, and this isn't even the case because the Oilers are the higher seed, but I have always said in the playoffs, and this is also ridiculous, when you're the higher seed, I actually hate going up 3-1 because a win in 5 games is a beatdown, right? Like that's gentleman's sweep. You're like, holy shit. When you go up 3-1 as the higher seed, you come home for game 5 and you have to finish it there. Because if you don't, you go to 6, you go on the road to 6 and you lose, and now you're back to 7 and you're like, fuck, if I'm the top seed, I would rather be 2-2 than up 3-1. Because it's like, oh, whatever, I'm just better and we're going to win best
fall
of 3.
out of my chair here. What are we talking about? So now you don't want home ice and you don't want a 3-1 lead?
My least favorite thing to do is sweep, Colby. Don't even get me started. I hate a sweep.
Dan,
Colby, don't even bring me involved in this.
Help me here.
This is the absolute nonsense that I deal with this guy.
It's like Neil just said, it's the PTSD as a Bruins fan.
Can somebody please get us the percentages of teams that win their series when they're up 3-1 in the history of the playoffs?
You know what? I think to try to bring us back to a semblance of normalcy and rational thought, I think Florida learned a lot from last year's final, that you cannot give this Edmonton team any breathing room or any sense of life at all. So yeah, I don't think that there's any planet where people were going, remember last year they got pumped in game 4 and people were being like, oh, it's great. Like, this is what they wanted. They want to come back and win on home ice and this and that and blah, 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 blah. That is just not true in the slightest. Like, I think this Florida team knows too. It's like, listen, yeah, sure. You had a great game 3. Maybe you have a little bit of momentum. Maybe you have a bit of the mental edge. I think they are definitely sitting in that locker room going, beat them every single chance we get. Like, do not give this team life in the slightest. So yeah, no, I don't.
I want to take you back on that.
Okay, if you're coming with some,
because you had this take before the series started, because I feel like the whole narrative was what Edmonton learned last year, right? The McDavid revenge tour. This is all about the Oilers, and I thought a really slept on point was what Florida learned last year too, which was we almost blew this by not finishing the job. And I think that will be super valuable tonight, certainly. But even if they go up 3-1, you're right. Like, this isn't going to be let's just go lose in Edmonton so we can casually close this out. Like, they know they need to win every game from now on, which I thought it was going to, I had originally picked like it's going to be 2-2 no matter what. I don't know how we're going to get there, but it's going to be 2-2. That was my early series take. And I'm skewing back a little bit to Florida. I really don't think Edmonton can blow them out either. Like I had a couple people being like, well, Florida got their blowout. Here comes the Oilers blowout. And I'm just like, I don't know. Florida looks too locked in, and Bob especially to go that way. So it's like, I think I'm back to just like a Florida skew tonight, but series not being over because there's no pressure on Edmonton now.
So hold on a second. Are you guys gamblers? Do you guys gamble?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. If I was to tell you you had a 91% chance, you'd take those odds, right?
Normally.
Wait, hold on. I what was the odds? You cut out for me.
91%.
Yes, I would. I feel very confident.
Okay, Jonny even might win a bet if he had a 91% probability.
I look for value. I'd say there's better value.
I just want to let everybody know this. Teams that are up 3-1 in their series in the history of the hockey playoffs win 91% of the series. I just want Chris and Jonny to wrap that around their brains when they're thinking about
the pressure,
the pressure, and not wanting home ice or not wanting to be up 3-1 in a series. Like I truly believe the clip from Billy Madison applies.
Well, what's the percentage when a team is down 3-0 in a series to force a game 7?
Yeah, but Jonny, I don't really give a shit what you force. It's one team wins and one team loses. One team gets a big trophy. The other team goes home and just wasted an entire summer getting the shit kicked out of them. So, like, I don't live in the fantasy world of getting to game 7. You fucking win or you don't. And that's how this goes.
I feel like you guys had something to say, Dan.
I'm laughing about the fact that you and CP were just sitting here saying that Florida could be up 3-1 with home ice and not feel good about the situation.
No, they wouldn't.
No, it wasn't Florida. It was Edmonton would feel less pressure playing in a game 5 down 3-1 because they're like, whatever.
2-2.
Yeah,
I stand by it.
Me too.
I do. I stand by it. Like the mental aspect of it, it's like, all right, let's win one game, and all we got to do is take one in Florida. Let's win a game at home. We got to take one in Florida, and we're back at home for game 7. Who wouldn't want that?
But
if
you're
it's
not
2-2,
if
it's 2-2, and we fucking choke this game on home ice to go up 3-2, done.
But you're not looking that far ahead in a playoff series. You are literally focusing on.
You're taking me too literally, Colby.
5 minutes of the next game. That's where you get in trouble in the National Hockey League, or really at any level of sports. You don't want to look ahead. You want to deal with the first period tonight is what they're focused on. You know, you got to compartmentalize, Jonny. It gets you into trouble pretty quickly. So, you know, let me ask you guys this, because, you know, we've now ventured into this, you know, how dumb can Jonny be on the show
and Chris
territory.
Yeah, don't leave me out of that.
Yeah, don't leave Chris out.
And I want to ask you guys this, because this was something we talked about, and we, you know, Jonny loves the word deserve, right? And he said Connor McDavid deserves to win a Stanley Cup, right? I pushed back on that, and I said Connor McDavid needs to go take the Stanley Cup and win it. I don't buy into this you deserve narrative in sports. I think sports is like the great equalizer, guys. Like, you look in the NHL, there's the issues that we complain about and we see in the rest of the world, they get weeded out in pro sports, the NHL, the NBA, whatever, right? It's the great equalizer, the best team, the best talent. Connor McDavid does not, in my opinion, deserve anything. I want him to win. I want him to go take the Stanley Cup from the Florida Panthers, right? Where do you guys fall on that whole thing? Does somebody deserve something like that, or do they need to go and take it?
Colby, this was you guys released a clip of this exact conversation I think a few days ago, and it was one of my favorite things that you guys have ever said. And Jonny, as much as I want to jump on you, like, I get where you're coming from with that, but Colby, I'm on your side in a big way, and I'll take it a step further and go into, you know, like, this is my old man screaming at the clouds take, and my, like, we're going to turn this into a tantrum, what grinds my gears segment. Tantrum. I cannot fucking stand this stupid narrative of going on. People who are, unbiased hockey fans who don't have a dog in this fight, who are going, oh, well, I'm rooting for the Oilers because, Connor needs his cup. I think it is the most boring fucking take in the world. This whole Connor needs his cup. Connor needs this. Connor needs that. First of all, Connor McDavid is fucking 28 years old. He is like he isn't going anywhere. This isn't this guy who's been in the league for 20 years and it's crazy he doesn't have a cup yet. Like this guy's going to win multiple Stanley Cups, whether it be this year or in the future. I have zero doubts about that. He is unbelievable. And I also can't handle the fucking disrespect to the rest of the Oilers team with this stupid narrative. Again, he's 28 years old. You know who's been on this team longer than him? Darnell Nurse, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Like, these guys have been around for just as long, battling just as long in Edmonton. No one's talking about them. How about Leon Draisaitl, a top 3-4 player in the world, right next to him, a leader in that locker room as well? Like, if people are going to go, Connor needs his cup. Connor, does Leon not deserve it? Does the fact that this guy is more of an MVP candidate than Connor this season? Why isn't anyone talking about Leon Draisaitl as much as they're talking about Connor? And I say that, as I said it the other day on our episode. Leon Draisaitl is my favorite forward to watch in the NHL. I absolutely love him. I absolutely love Connor. I think he is probably the most talented hockey player to ever live. But I am so over this narrative of Connor needs it. Connor deserves it. And it's all about him and not about the team. It's nauseating. Drives me insane.
Chris, do you want to go? Yeah, I'll go after you, Chris. Yeah.
I'll say that I feel like, and I think this is the heart of your sentiment, Laz. I would be sad if Connor McDavid retired without a cup. That would be sad for hockey, right? Like he deserves it in that way, where I'm like, oh, I want a player like Connor McDavid to have a cup. But I am almost like, and this kind of spins into what I was saying about what people were sleeping on, what Florida learned last year. I kind of sleep on, like, this Florida team has a chance to go into a different, like, tax bracket, right? Like 3 straight cups. If you win 2 of them, you're talked about now. No, I'm not saying they're the Oilers dynasty or the Islanders dynasties, right? But like, they're building something. And part of me goes, I look at this team and Colby, you're right. Like, I'm not saying whoever wins doesn't have to earn it. Someone's earning it, period. But yeah. I'm almost like, I look at this Florida team and I'm like, they deserve to go back to back because they've built something so sick and made great moves at the deadline and have played so incredible. And Barkov's done what he's done against some of the best players in the league. You know what I mean? It's almost like I kind of look at it as a bigger picture of who I want history to remember this, because we all got to see it with the eye test, but I want to look back when someone's just checking Wikipedia, when an alien that's taken over this planet is looking at Wikipedia and they're like, who won the cup in 2025? I think it's cool for them to go, wow, that Panthers team was iconic. And if this Panthers team loses this cup, I almost feel like they're a bit of a blip, a bit. They'll remember they went to 3, but it's just kind of like you just won one. To your point, Colby, someone wins and someone loses, and that's it. So if the Panthers just kind of get 1 out of these 3 appearances, I think they'll be bummed to the point that I almost skew the other way. And I'm like, the Panthers deserve this shit. Yeah. So it's, there's like 2 ways to really look at that.
I think honestly, Johnny, before you go, I just want to finish my thought. Like I get the reason I get so allergic to this, guys, like this whole thing is because, again, like I don't make any secret about the fact that, like, I was nothing but a practice player watching the team win the Stanley Cup in 2011, right? Like I was there in case we had a bus accident and half the team couldn't play. Like, that's how far down the depth chart I was. But I was still there every single day, and I went through it every single day with these guys. And I watched my teammates sell their souls to win. I'm not kidding you. Like, I watched Lucic play with a broken foot. I watched Mark Recchi check his ego at the door and be a third liner. I watched Nathan Horton's career basically end. I watched Tyler Seguin come up to the press box and go back to the ice, and, Tim Thomas go to a medieval place as a hockey player. And like, it was watching guys. I'm not kidding you. Like, I feel like some of the guys that year did a deal with the devil and had to give the devil something in order to win. And just seeing what that took on a day-to-day basis. Like, there are guys who are still playing from that team, Marshy being one of them. they're holding Marshy together with tape right now. The guy is being held together with glue and tape with his body, right? And so when I hear the word deserves, I immediately get so allergic to it, because I just feel like it's a collective thing of players that are willing to sell their soul. You have to make a mental decision, and your body is you have to lie to yourself that you're okay and that you're not dying, basically, right? And I know I'm using, I'm maybe dramatizing it a little bit, taking a page out of Johnny's book here, but that's why I am just so I lose it when I hear those types of things about who deserves this or who deserves that. And I feel like I always will argue it on the other side for that reason, from my own lived experience of what I watched.
Okay, well, let me give my piece. Ready?
Oh, you're here still?
Colby, you love the not the hypothetical stats. You love the actual stats, right? Like, that's something that you stand very strong on. Do the Edmonton Oilers sniff a conference final or Stanley Cup final berth without the player Connor McDavid? It's a team sport, but if you remove Connor McDavid from the Oilers, do they go anywhere? I'm not done. This is just the initial point. I know, Dan.
I mean, dude, what type of a fucking comment is that?
Okay, so it's a comment you can't argue. Exactly. So let me read Connor McDavid's stats over the past 4 postseasons. 21-22, the Oilers' first conference final, they get swept. McDavid, 33 points in 16 games. The year after, 2023, I think they lose in the second round. McDavid, 20 points in 12 games. Last year, Game 7 of the Cup Final, McDavid, 42 points in 25 games. This postseason, McDavid, 31 points in 19 games. Career totals, 148 points in 93 playoff games. Are you fucking kidding me? When it comes to individual performance, this guy has done everything possible for his team to get to this point. And the team as a collective can't get over the hump. But this individual man, what else can he really do? What more can he do for his team to win a cup? That's why I say he deserves it, because he has done everything in the regular season, in the postseason. The best player in the damn sport delivers time in and time out every single time. It happens. And if you remove that, they don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
I know you could say a goalie, all that stuff, but Dan, here's just to round it out. Without McDavid, and here's what pisses you off about the McDavid Cup. I just want to see him get one. If we are talking about the Mount Rushmore conversation of hockey players 15 years from now, and Connor McDavid does not have a Stanley Cup next to his name, he is not getting on there. He's not.
That's true. All right. All right. Hold on. I think, first of all, no one is denying that he performs. And I'm not saying that you're implying that we're doing that, but what you just said, if you take Connor off this team, they don't, dude, take the best player of any fucking team and their team doesn't.
It's so much more.
Tom Brady off.
I don't give a shit if it's more significant. I don't give a shit if it's more significant. Take Sasha Barkov off the Panthers. They don't get out of the fucking first round.
Cup final in 2020, the Lightning won the cup.
It's a crazy take. I think that is mental, but your point stands. He delivers. He is CP is, dubbed him the executioner, and it's remarkable, dude. The guy does go out and he performs every single game, and that is great, no doubt about it. I am here to say, dude, and I'm one of the biggest trophy case guys in the world when it comes to best players of all time. If Connor McDavid keeps playing at this level for 10, 12 more years, I have him on my Mount Rushmore no matter what, if he doesn't have a cup or not. In fact, if this kid retires at age 40 with what's he gonna fucking have? Let's be real, guys. 5, 6 Hart trophies. He has a Conn Smythe in a Stanley Cup loss. He is still on my Mount Rushmore if he doesn't win a Stanley Cup. If he keeps playing like this, which, as you just pointed out, Johnny, there is zero evidence pointing to the fact that he won't just keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But to defend Laz real quick, though, and again, Colby, baseline of no one deserves a cup. You have to earn it. No one deserves a cup. But to defend Laz a little bit, I go, Connor McDavid deserves a cup much more than Austin Matthews does. I think Austin Matthews is incredible player. I love him. And I think he's one of the most gifted goal scorers we've ever seen. And I think the OV record will literally be on watch in about 9 years. But Matthews so far hasn't done what Jonny just laid out. You know what I mean? Like, and in fact, there's even moments where, like you just said, Dan, take anyone's best player off. There's even stats out there where they're like, when Matthews doesn't play, the Leafs are better in the playoffs. You know, so it's like there are superstars in the league that have really stepped up in the finals or in the playoffs largely more than some other superstars. And I will give Connor a ton of credit on that.
Yeah.
He has not really shied away. And I know there's some people in the chat, like no goals in game 6 or 7.
CP, I'm just going to jump in and say that Austin Matthews is not the best player on that team.
Yeah, you're a Willie guy, big Willie Styles.
Don't let him lose focus. He's on fire. Sorry.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? There's moments where I think, did you guys see it? Was I only saw a picture graphic. I didn't see the clip, but I think Stephen A went off on McDavid on like.
We talked about it yesterday. I talked about it yesterday. Colby wasn't on the show yesterday, but I kind of agreed. Yeah,
I didn't hear it last, but I saw a picture of the quote that was like, dude, when can we hold superstars accountable? Like, score a goal, dude. It's the fucking finals. So there are a few chinks in the armor where I'm like, okay, Connor, like I want you to get this cup, but you gotta take it, to Colby's point. And I'm not sure, as good as those stats are, Laz, in this playoffs, I'm not sure Connor is taking this cup in this series so far.
I agree with that. I agree. I mean, because like Stephen A, we had Andy Strickland on yesterday because Andy Strickland was the one who said, like, Stephen A. Smith may have not watched a single second of this series, but is he wrong in what he said? I actually don't think so. But that's the expectation of McDavid, because McDavid could have 20 assists in 5 games. Guess what? If he doesn't score, you need your best player in the fucking game to score a goal in the final. You need to. You have to. But that's the pedestal that we put McDavid on that nobody else is on. There's no other individual player that is on the pedestal of McDavid, because hockey is a team sport. But when you have Connor McDavid, it's a little less of a team sport. You count on him a little bit more than everybody else. And that's a fact.
I almost feel like the Draisaitl goal on the power play when he went through the middle and he set up Draisaitl with the double, like he went over 2 sticks with that sauce. Like I'd say that one's probably better than a goal. I mean, I agree. The guy's got to score, but when you put it on a platter like that, to me, that's as good as a goal. I mean, I truly believe like that play right there, that's not a shot and a rebound. That's not an errant stick on a forecheck where that's like, here you go, man. I'm going to do 99% of the work. Just do me a favor, punch it in the goal line, right? Like, so nothing you guys said is wrong. The guy's got to score, but again, I first off, I want 7 games.
Yeah.
This is like, if we're going to get to see games that are constantly going to overtime and there's going to be, these big momentum pushes back and forth, and like, we're going to get to see big plays from big time players, whether it's Marshy, whether it's whomever down the lineups. But, Edmonton has given us every reason to expect them to respond tonight. Like, what have they not done? And listen, Dan, you said it. I picked against them in LA. I even picked against them in Vegas.
Same.
Like they,
not me.
And when they beat Vegas 3-1, and I believe it was game 3 of that series to go up 2-1, that was the night for me that I said, okay, I got on here and I apologized to anybody who is an Edmonton Oilers watcher or listener and said, like, I just couldn't have been more wrong about this team. So they've now given me 6 weeks of data points. Why wouldn't they respond tonight? Why wouldn't they come back with their hair on fire against Florida and respond? And that's what I think is going to happen tonight. I truly do. We know.
I mean, that's
before you go,
Colby. That's what I was saying earlier when you and I were talking about betting against the Oilers, and it's like I will not make that mistake again. The one thing that I would say is I feel like we saw the Kings poop their pants. Like, they had zero business losing that series, and yet the Oilers are inevitable. And then it felt like Vegas was the better team on paper. It felt like Dallas is the better team on paper. And it's just like, they keep doing it. They keep responding. And heading into this series, I was like, Florida, for me, seems like the first actual real adult opponent that they've had. LA, Vegas, Dallas, they were all little boys. They were all little boys who thought that they were great, and they got slapped in the mouth. So the only way that Edmonton, I don't want to say doesn't respond, because I think Edmonton's showing up tonight in a big way no matter what. The only way they don't come out and win is if it's because Florida is equally mentally tough as them, equally as professional. And I think they are.
Yeah,
So
they
I
are.
think this game is
They
going to be
are.
a tilt. I
There's
think
no
it's going to be
doubt.
so close.
So one thing I wanted to say, just quickly to put a bow on the whole McDavid deserves thing, which also leads into this. The Florida Panthers deserve a cup way more than Connor McDavid does individually. So I will stand by that. And going into tonight's game, you know, we've talked about it like all week, that everyone says, oh, Edmonton learned from last year and they're coming, you know, they're coming out a different team this year. Well, guess the fuck what? The Florida Panthers learned more. They had a 3-0 lead. They let it slip. Tonight they put their stranglehold on this series and take a 3-1 lead. I'm all over Florida tonight. I don't see them dropping it. I don't see it happening. And you guys have said you're tired of, or you can't bet against McDavid again. You can't bet against the Oilers. The team that's won it, I am never going to bet against them. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Chris,
such a good call, dude. Such a good call. And I think Colby, you were headed into this for this game is all eyes on Skinner, right? Like there's all those game 4 Skinner stats, which are sick, and the Oilers largely in game 4s too. But he's such an interesting goalie for me because 2 years in a row where he gets lit the fuck up like a Christmas tree and then cold and then comes back and is so dialed, you know, and he did it again, dude. He did it again. The stash was talking to him for 7 games there. And I was like, okay. And now I just don't know if he has another reset in him. Like, does he come out this game and is completely locked in and the Oilers steal a 2-1 win because, you know, Skinner's a wall? Or is it just a little too much Panthers all the time against him? And the first period, I'm going to be so glued to the first period because if a first period shutout goes a long way for Stu. When I feel like he gets those, I'm like, oh shit, we're into one here. And if the Panthers, whether it's a power play or not, whatever, if the Panthers just sneak 1 or 2 by in the first again, I think it'll be really telling on how the game's going.
K. Waddy hates me right now.
I just look. I think you when you're talking to you said it right. These are 2 adult opponents, right? The 2 teams that should be here are here, and games 1 and 2, we needed 3 overtimes basically to get winners in game 1 and 2. So you know we're not talking about 2 teams that have looked grossly overmatching or overpowering one to the other. And that's what I think I enjoyed about game 1 and game 2 is it was like a boxing match, right? Like round 1, here comes Edmonton in game 1. Then all of a sudden the second period, Florida's got them back on their heels. And then boom, Edmonton turns up the Jets in the third and into overtime. And then game 2, you know, Florida hangs on and they kind of hang around and they wait for a mistake. And then boom, right? Like they get on the scoreboard, they get rolling downhill. They start getting into their forecheck. You know, Barkov makes a couple of plays, like you get a couple of saves, right? So it obviously game 3 had a very different, you know, outcome, feel. The whole thing was totally different. But to me, I think that was the outlier. And I wouldn't be shocked if we're sitting there tonight, guys, and 60 minutes ends and we're getting ready to watch overtime. And overtime's out of bounds.
Yeah, correct.
You know, I think someone in the chat mentioned it. I was going to bring this up a little while ago. I think a very telling thing so far in the series in Edmonton as well, and obviously in game 3, this Florida team is better 5v5, and I don't think that's even close to debatable. No, it's not even debatable. And I think after the antics of last game and just like what we've seen, how the game's a little bit different on this ice down in Florida. If Paul Maurice isn't sitting in that locker room drilling into these guys' heads, and I know they like to play chippy, I know they like to play dirty. If Florida stays out of the box in this game, I don't think we're seeing
plays like 2 for 12. They're like 2 for 12 anyway.
I know, Johnny. It's been killer, dude. And they've looked dangerous, you know, like they're buzzing around. They feel like they're going to score, but they just never do.
In the last 2 games, yeah.
Talked about this on the show earlier this week, and N. Perez is asking us in the chat. He's making a comment about how bad the penalty kill is for Edmonton, and we actually spent, I think it was Monday's show, Johnny.
Yeah,
we went pretty like. You know,
the game was Monday, so it must have been
Tuesday's show where we were talking about special teams and how, again, it's difficult because when you have certain players, like you can't really put them into a setup, right? Like Connor McDavid is a rover on the power play. The guy, and then everybody else just has to kind of figure out, okay, where do I need to get to? And I was telling these guys, like, again, not apples to apples. I was telling Johnny, like, it reminded me of when I was doing Boston college games this year, and they had all those crazy talented players, all first-round picks, right? You had Perot, you had Leonard, you had Higgins, all these guys, and there was so much movement. I felt like it just didn't accomplish anything, right? Like, it looked pretty, but it was just not impactful. And that's where I think Edmonton's power play gets to at times. But what do you do? Like, when you have McDavid, what are you going to tell him? Like, hey, you're the half wall guy, stay to the half wall. It's difficult. And then with the penalty kill, we talked about that wedge down that they've been doing where they come aggressive to the top and then they wedge down to the hash marks. And it's creating way too many seams because the defenseman is also leaving the front of the net. And Florida's utilizing that bumper. And we saw the way they victimized them twice in the series so far with like a quick play. So special teams, if Edmonton is going to win tonight and find their way back into the series, like we got to be talking about good special teams for them. Otherwise, like, I'm with you guys. Florida could run away with this thing if Edmonton does not dial in their special teams, because like Dan said, 5-on-5, it's hard to go shift to shift, 4 lines deep with Florida 5-on-5.
Did you guys you guys all watch the Last Dance documentary?
Yeah.
So I mentioned it to Goldie. Steve Goldstein came on our show, I think, before the Stanley Cup Final started, and I said, like, the Florida Panthers are turning into that like late 80s Detroit Pistons bad boys, right? And Michael Jordan talked about how like 3 or 4 years in a row they beat the living shit out of him, and the Bulls could not get through the Pistons. Like, I think it was 4 straight years of playoff eliminations in the Eastern Conference in the NBA. And like, this feels a lot like that. Like, no matter how much skill, what the Oilers can do, when they get the shit beat out of them, what else can you really do? And Florida just has that mentality. We saw, this is what the conversation was the other night. Like, when Edmonton, and the argument was like, the Oilers aren't what the Panthers are. So that's why the embarrassing conversation started, because that's not who the Oilers are. That's who the Panthers are. If the Panthers are down 6-1, they're going to do that shit because that's who they are. But when you do that to them, it's not going to work. And this feels to me a lot like just listening to Michael Jordan speak about the adversity of getting through the Detroit Pistons. Like, no matter what he could have done, the way that team, just like the Panthers, the team beat the crap out of him. That, and again, this is not just McDavid, it's the entire Oilers team. Like, I just don't know if they have the answer for it, because Florida is not going to let down.
Dude, Johnny, and when you said earlier about how Florida learned a ton from last year, I couldn't agree more. I said that on our show a little while ago. And dude, I also said going into the series, I said it to Chris, I think Florida, there's both of these teams have had funny moments in these playoffs where Edmonton fans and Edmonton team has been like, you fucking idiots, keep doubting us. Like, what is wrong with you? Florida definitely felt that way too in round 1. Like, I feel like I think maybe all 4 of us picked Tampa in that series. And it's like, it's like they have it too. But I think a huge thing for them is they are pissed how everyone in the media can't stop stroking off McDavid and talking about this Oilers team. They're pissed that
including me.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we all fall victim to it, man. It's like, how much have we talked about Connor fucking McDavid in this episode? And they're also pissed that they almost blew a 3-0 series lead last year, and it's all anyone can talk about. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think that this team is collectively, they're more of a unit than Edmonton is. And I think that there's a world where they are coming into this going, screw everything, screw all the narrative, screw the media chatter. Like, let's just beat the shit out of this team.
God.
Yeah.
Can I just stop here?
The comment in the chat about glazing the Panthers.
Hurton Albertan 9799. I don't know if you just are hearing what you want to hear. I don't know if you've got cotton balls in your ears and you're just not listening to us. But I mean, we have sat here. Every Florida Panther fan has come into our show every day and complained about how all we do is talk about the Oilers and we want the Oilers and this and that. I mean, come on, man. Like, again, we're not afraid to battle with our chat. So if
I'll
you
glaze the Panthers, they deserve every single second of it.
Still, like, if you're listening to today's conversation and you are sitting here thinking that we are another day of DFO glazing the Florida Panthers, Like, I'm sorry, you're living in an alternate universe. Because
to be fair, we did spend the first 15 minutes glazing Marchand.
Who's played better than Marshy the last couple of nights?
I'm just saying, to be fair.
Can we talk about what we see without it being a fucking glazing?
I don't think there's any chippy fairs to be said here. Someone in this chat saying that we are being pessimistic about the Oilers or not talking about the Oilers enough is insane.
Yeah. I mean, like, come on, guys. You like it's. I like that you're passionate, and we love the emotion because, listen, have emotion towards your team. Like, that's what makes this sport great, and that's what makes the fans so passionate. But like, you got to actually listen to what we're saying here. Can't just cherry pick words and then splice your own sentence together to come up with what we're talking about here, because the internet lives forever. There's receipts. The last 1 hour and 1 minute of receipts of that not being what's going on here. So that comment definitely caught my eye. And like I said, we love when new people chime in on the chat.
Yeah.
Fire back. Like, you want to, bring your ammo. Like, we're ready for it. Bring your ammo.
Yeah. But anyways, Dan, CP, we love you guys. You guys have done an incredible job. Seriously, for anyone, I'm sure everyone knows who you are, but for anyone that doesn't know who you guys are, please check out their podcast. Like, I listen to it every single show. It's one of the most fun and enjoyable listens that you'll find in hockey. It's beyond
entertainment
and knowledgeable too.
And knowledgeable. Their show, like, you're not going to go to their show and they're going to just yell at you and tell you how smart they are for an hour. Like, these guys are entertaining. Like, I wish some of our broadcasts could take a, like, it's good. It's cool to be entertaining too. Like that is what we're supposed to do here, I think.
Yeah. But I was just going to say, we love you guys. Any final thoughts before we let you go here?
Series predictions.
CP, I'll let you let it rip.
And you can change. Whatever you've done in the past, we're going to pretend like it didn't happen. From today on,
Colby, the internet keeps the receipts.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
I had Panthers in 6. So
today on,
did you have that
prediction?
Did you have that the whole time last? That's
Panthers
a great
in 6 and betting right before the series started.
Dude, wow. So here's the thing.
True.
I think fucked the Oilers unintentionally because I kept picking them to lose every series because I was like, oh, Vegas was my cup pick. I was like, oh, they just can't. The Oilers are going to lose every round. And every round I'd pick them to lose, the Oilers would just win in 5. So then in this series, I was like, okay, Oilers in 5. And now they're fucked. Now they're dead. And this was my fault. And I apologize to the Edmonton, to Hurton Albertan himself. I apologize for fucking the Oilers. I think if it goes 7, I really do think maybe there is another gear somehow that Connor and Rogers Place can hit and they will win. Like, I really think if the Oilers can just get it to 7, they will do it. But I don't think after watching the first 3 games, they can get it to 7 anymore.
I'm not laughing at you, by the way, that somebody just changed their name to Colby is always right. And
I was just laughing at that too.
They got a picture of me from the draft, which like it's a rough photo.
What face are you making in that?
I just think I'm like stone faced to be honest.
That is hilarious, by the way. That's
like when
correct.
So that's what I was laughing at, CP. I was not laughing at what you were saying.
But it was hilarious. So I don't, after watching 3, I don't think they can get it to 7. So I will back Laz as usual. And it feels a lot like Panthers in 6 right now.
I think
fucking guy right there.
I think we know that like at some point we might have to do like a live show collaboration together. And like, I think it's going to be like a partner swap situation here where I think the debate teams are going to be split half and half. And then I kind of have an idea who my partner is going to be that night. So.
But here's the problem, dude. We just discombobulate you guys with the nonsense and get you off your game. Like,
we know we're going to lose, but we're going to have way more fun.
But I'm going to be squirting a water bottle at you for 3 minutes straight, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be great. No, you guys are the best, man. We said it a million times. It's taken us way too long to make this happen. So now that we broke the
6 a.m. for us on the West Coast.
Yeah, like that. Now that we broke the ice, dude, we just got to keep ripping for sure.
Mm-hmm. But I always say to Johnny, it's 6. So what? It's 6 a.m. They can get up. They'll come on at 6:30. It's no big deal, you know.
Yeah, I'll take a nap after Colby. It'll be
One
great.
day you're gonna have kids and you're gonna be getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning like we do over here when your little ones are screaming for you. So I'm just giving you guys some practice. You guys gotta, come on. One day you're gonna have to procreate. The world needs good-looking people,
This is true. I hate to admit it.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in like 2 weeks when I'm in LA for the draft. So I'm pumped to see you guys again.
Can't wait, bro.
All right. Be good,
Yeah.
guys.
See you guys. Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Two of my favorite people in the game. I met them in the 2023 Cup Final, and it's been like, we call ourselves like day twos. Like, you have your day one friends that you've had forever. Like, they're like my day twos. Like, I met them later in life, but like instant best friends.
I've never heard that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, really
I think
happy.
it's cool to bring them on and it just like seamlessly can have a conversation with those guys. I actually do think like
it was a 2-on-2 debate.
If we did do something like if we were ever going to do a live show, like doing something with those guys would just be cool. Just because, like you said, like we could definitely split off and like we have a very seamless ability to have a conversation with those guys. So
yeah,
it was good to get them on finally. I have been asking you to get those guys on for a year.
Well, they're in LA. So like, I hate asking people on the West Coast to wake up early and do our show. Like, not everyone's willing to do it. Plus those guys are traveling a lot. They're running around a lot.
J-Rock says Colby calls
next
Johnny
week
a next week friend.
I don't even know what that means. I don't get that. What does that mean?
You don't have to. It's all right. So let's do Ninja Crispy, Johnny. It's just
like inside jokes.
It's just like I don't like to tell you what's happening in the group chat. It's just like I didn't want to tell you about, why Kevin Weeks didn't want to come on the show. Like some things
I know that.
Some things I have to let your imagination run wild because like I know your imagination will eat you up. So like I don't even have to.
So true. That's where
like
all my anxiety stems from.
All I have
creating
to do
scenarios in my head.
When we're done our show live every day, all I have to do is take a little seed and plant it in your head. And then I say, oh, sorry, I got to go. And I get out of our chat. And then all of a sudden I know that's just getting water and sun and it starts growing. And then by the next morning, I have like a full plant grown, it's fun to watch you do that. So,
all right. Well, a guy and his dogs knows what's coming. It's time now for our Ninja Crispy hot take presented by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 portable glass air fryer.
Meet the first of its kind, the Ninja Crispy portable cooking system. The power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand. So you can cook big or small batches. Just prep it, crisp it, serve it, and store it all in one.
It's an all-in-one system that includes a 4-quart, 6-cup Tupperware glass container and 2 storage lids. The Ninja Crispy is thermal shock resistant and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-size air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies, and you can cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container. Jeez, I'm struggling with this one today. With Max Crisp, Bake, Air Fry, and Recrisp with the Ninja Crispy, you can prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. Can I not speak? So visit their website in the link in the description or check out ninjakitchen.ca. God, that was tough. I don't know why I struggled heavy with that one.
You want to try it again?
No, I don't want to do that again.
Can I tell you something before you give it?
What?
I think when you do Ninja Crispy and when you do Bet365, the comments that are flashing on the chat quickly, everybody's like holding their breath, like praying, especially when you do 365. They're just like praying, please pick the other team.
Not their team. Yeah.
It like as soon as you start doing your A, Ninja Crispy, and B, your 365, I stop looking at you and I immediately go to the chat. And I'm just like laughing because like I just can't wait to see whoever jumps in first, like with the please don't do it, Johnny. Go ahead.
It does. I mean, I forgot who said it. I think it was
good
D.
To be back today, Johnny. It's good to be back.
No, but D, yeah, I know. I missed you yesterday, honestly. Like I just love doing the show with you. It's so much fucking fun. Not to get all sappy, but it is. D said, like, if I pick Florida, I can't be right twice in a row or something. So
I did see that.
He feels comfortable with that. But the crispy hot take, I don't even know how hot this is, but saying Alexander Barkov will have more goals in this series than McDavid. We're 3 games in, both have not scored yet. I think Florida is going to win. So to me, it's an obvious that Barkov will have more. but I feel like everyone thinks the opposite, where McDavid's going to turn it on at some point and find the back of the net. And Barkov doesn't need to play well. Like, he doesn't need to score goals to play well. So I think Barkov finishes with more goals than McDavid. You?
No, I still think I think McDavid will get his game in check. But again, and I've been on the record saying this, to me, for Barkov to be one of the best players any night he plays, he doesn't have to score because his contributions around the game and around the rest of the rink are just, you can't even measure them, and it's not just him shutting a player down, right? Like, that's kind of the easy way out of that argument, is saying, oh, well, he's shutting McDavid down. Sure. But his ability to influence the game with his presence, with his body positioning, with his stick, chances that he sets up for other guys, like, when he's forechecking you as a defenseman, it's him. It makes you uncomfortable. You might turn a puck over that you may not. Look at Klingberg the other night. He's got an opportunity to move the puck, but he doesn't try to seam Barkov. And then all of a sudden, Barkov gets in on the forecheck, boom. So I just continue to really sort of feel like Barkov doesn't have to score to be maybe the most impactful player on the ice.
Yeah.
He's just that good at that. If he scores, it's gravy on top. But I still think McDavid will get more goals than him by the end of the season. I mean,
by the end of the series, amen. Okay, so let me just ask you one question before we do Bet 365. I think I asked you, or who do we have on? I think it was Rupper. I asked, like, who has to be the best player in game 2, and we both agreed that it was Stuart Skinner. So tonight, Oilers down 2-1 going into game 4. Who has to be the best player on the ice tonight for both teams? Like, because it was for both teams when we asked Rupper. Like, I think he said Matthew Tkachuk, and we were both on board with Skinner that if Edmonton were to take a 2-0 lead, that'd be huge. So tonight, like, is it more important for Florida to go up 3-1 than it is for Edmonton to tie it at 2-2? Like,
I'd rather answer it like this. I'd rather answer it with, like, for Edmonton, like, the most important thing for the Edmonton Oilers tonight is their special teams, is their power play and their penalty kill. And I'd say the most important thing for the Florida Panthers tonight is the neutral zone. And it's like, how are they going to, like, with McDavid kind of being hot and bothered from getting beat up the night before, like, how do they stop the Oilers' transition? That's the neutral zone. You create, look at those turnovers that led to the Marchand breakaways. Yeah, they weren't in the neutral zone, but they were kind of right into the offensive zone.
Yeah, like that, like
that 5 foot, that 5
just
feet
inside the blue,
2 to 3 feet, even on the left side of the blue and the right side of the blue, like that 5 feet in that area by those 3 lines, like, that's the most important area. Because again, like, sure, like, could either goaltender stand on their head and win a game? Absolutely. I mean, we've seen both of them do it, right? But to me, it's more about the special teams matchup versus Florida and their ability to create those little turnovers that lead to little breaks, 2-on-1s, breakaways, and I think, to me, that is the more important matchup than who's the best player going to be on either side of the coin. Because McDavid could be the best player on the ice tonight if Skinner doesn't have a good night, or vice versa. If Tkachuk and Barkov go off offensively, but Bob lets in 3 softies, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I guess, like, and then in the same token, you could play great defensively and make it so your goaltender doesn't have a hard night and doesn't have to be the hero. So it's hard. Like, I think it would just be me lying if I said this has to be the best player on the ice tonight, because I just don't. Again, hockey really truly is such a team sport, and there's so many. It is such a chess match when you get into a playoff series. So to me, that is the bigger storyline for this game, is going to be, can they create those turnovers in the neutral zone for Florida and capitalize? Because if they do, Florida will win. But if all of a sudden Edmonton can gets their power play and their penalty kill going tonight, you think they would win this game, right? So that, to me, is the marquee matchup.
I'm seeing a lot of, like, Skinner has to be better. Randy just said Skinner has to make a save, and he's not alone. Like, Randy, like, other people have been saying that. But, like, I don't look at game 3 and, like, really point the finger at Skinner. Like, the Oilers are killing off 4 power plays in the first period. They don't score on their own power play opportunities that they get. And the goals that Skinner gave up, like the first one, maybe he's a little bit too far out of the crease. The second one, Verhaeghe puts it in a perfect spot. I know you said, Skinner's just got to make that save. Bennett gets the breakaway. I'm blanking on what the third one was. Oh, it was the Reinhart posting in. I don't look at game 3 and say that's on Skinner.
Yeah.
I look at it and say the Oilers were way too undisciplined. You got to find a way.
Couple short side goals that bothered me. I didn't think he was bad.
But do you pin that on Skinner? I
don't
pin that.
No, I don't. I'm just saying, you need, again, you're playing against the other best team in the league, right? When it's the 2 best teams in the league, you gotta come up with a few. So, all right, let's go to Bet365, Johnny. I think what we do is, obviously we saw the Atlanta news yesterday. It's all speculation right now. It seems realistic, but I need to do a little bit more. I think I need to dig in historically a little bit before I really weigh in and give an opinion on if I think that can work again or not. I'm not ready to go into that topic. And then the Kreider thing, let's just wait till it happens before we really decide how this trade looks. Yeah. We obviously know these things are happening. So just so you guys know, we're not ignoring it. Let's wait till it happens. And then next week, we'll dive into these things a little bit more. I think we have Ray Ferraro tomorrow, correct?
Yep.
So
Ray and Tyler, I believe, right?
So we'll have Tyler Remchuk. We'll have Ray Ferraro. Awesome. Great lineup for us tomorrow. So that'll be great. Look, see, Hurt and Albertan's still here. I love that. I love that you're still here. I say this all the time. We're like a dysfunctional family. We yell and scream at each other. And then, at the end of the show, we're like, oh yeah, all right, let's all hug it out. So I'm glad you're still in the chat, Hurt and Albertan. I'm glad the Netters guys shouted you out as well.
Ice Cubes had a good point. Just has a good comment too. Ray's the perfect guy to ask about Atlanta because he was a thrasher for quite some time.
He scored a lot of goals. Oh, the Pittsburgh news yesterday with Lemieux. There's just some other stuff going on. Hopefully next week, guys, we'll be able to give some direction on what after the series ends, what our show is going to look like how many we're going to do live after the series ends versus once we're going to get to off-season mode. So we'll keep you guys all updated on that. Let's keep growing this subscriber base. It's going to come down to the wire. I mean, we are at we need less than we need 300 something subscribers. Vic, maybe you can get me the exact number to get to 30,000. Okay. We are rounding third to get to 30,000 subscribers. Vic says we only have 2 games left. I don't know if that's the truth, Vic. Hopefully we get more than 2 more games, but
K-Rock, you are not alone. I love the Thrashers jerseys and colors.
So we have 29,613 subscribers. We got to get to 30,000. We're talking about 87 subscribers. Just doing quick math in my head there. So let's hit that subscribe button. Let's hit that like button, hit that auto download button. Leave those comments on the YouTube. I saw some of the comments on the YouTube yesterday. Some of you actually missed me, which I was surprised to see, but I love you guys as much as we yell and scream at each other. I appreciate that. I think Johnny missed me the most, even though Jeff is nice to him. I think he truly likes what we do.
I can't yell at him
I
can't raise my voice at Jeff.
Anyways, go ahead, Johnny. Let's hit Bet365 and then let's call it a day because I got to jump on a Zoom here in a couple of minutes to do our draft recap from yesterday. Yesterday was our big NA draft for the Titans. Very cool experience for me. First time I've ever done that. So
you want to talk about it?
Very cool. What?
Do you want to talk about it?
No, it's all right. We'll save it. We might have some down days next week, so we could talk about the process next week.
Okay. So I think everyone listening to today's show can have a feel for where I'm going with this one tonight. But if you want to get in on the action for Stanley Cup playoffs at Bet365, they've got you from game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. So whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs, you must be 19 or older. And tonight, sticking with it, I said Panthers in 6. I thought they'd split in Edmonton. I said the Panthers are going to win both games on home ice. Edmonton will take game 5 at home, and the Panthers will close it out in game 6 on home ice. I am sticking to that. So Florida money line tonight, -150, a little bit of juice on it, but not too much. Doesn't scare me. And yeah, this Florida Panther team hurting Albertan. I'll glaze them right now. To me, best team in the game.
It's not glazing them to think that they're going to win. It's just a difference of opinion.
I'm okay with calling it glazing. It's fine. And I know D White's happy to see me pick Florida 2 games in a row because I'm usually never right twice in a row. So Florida Panthers money line tonight should be a great game. I just think they're too good. Not going to bet against them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen. Thanks to the empty netters, guys. Johnny, make sure. Actually, I'll throw it in the group chat. I'll throw it in my group chat with those guys and let them. I'll thank them. And we'll tell them that they've got the open door policy, and maybe we'll try to schedule something live with those guys next year around one of the big events in the NHL. I think that would be cool. So, good job today. We hope everybody has a great day. Remember, Ray Ferraro coming on the show tomorrow, first time guest. Should be an awesome guest. Nobody better at what he does. So that'll be great to get him on. We'll have to ask him about the whole Jake Ottinger thing.
Yeah. He talked about it. It might be old news.
Honestly, it is, but it's not for me since I do that. Like I work in that position.
Yeah.
And so I want to pick his brain about it a little bit. And I kind of
Can I ask him about the NHL video games, or is that too immature?
I don't know. You could ask him whatever you want. He might tell you you're an idiot, but you could definitely, Ray's a fiery guy. I mean, he's not afraid to.
I don't think he'd be offended.
So no, I know, but he might just be like, "What are we talking about here?"
Well, I've always been curious how, like, when Doc Emmerich and Eddie, they would do like the recordings for the NHL video games. Like Ray was the voice, in the video games. I always wondered how they did that.
Oh, they record like thousands. And thousands of takes. Yeah, ask him about it. I think there's enough people that play video games. So
I just needed your permission.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, listen, we hope everybody has a great day. We'll have Tyler Yaremchuk, 9:05 Edmonton Oilers talk, Florida Panthers talk, a little reaction from the game. If Edmonton loses tonight, it's going to be a rough morning for Tyler. And then we'll have Ray at 9:30, right, Johnny? Is it 9:30, 9:40, something like that? 9:45. There you go. And then that'll be it for the week, guys. Listen, we're counting down the days here. We don't have a lot of time left together this season, so make sure you're getting involved here and getting your voice heard the next couple of weeks. We hope everybody has a great day. We'll see you all back here as we always do, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.